How many grams of carbs per hour should long distance runners be consuming? 15 grams? 30 grams? Xendurance are going to kill me because there's like 17 grams in each of these scoops. 45 grams. A little bit of ASMR. Now before we start, there's a couple of things that we have to cover before the keyboard warriors start kicking off. Now, there is a different consideration for sub 4 hour efforts. If you really want to know, you're in the ultra space, you can DM me, you can pay me and I'll actually coach you and do it all for you. But the general rule is that it's at least going to double, sometimes triple your hour requirements of carbohydrates over 4 hours for very obvious reasons. Simply lovely. With that being said, let's focus on sub 4 hour efforts, and number two, training simulation, not necessarily on race day. One other thing that we really have to consider straight away before we get into the nitty-gritty is intranutrition. Remember, intranutrition to sustain performance is extra calories on top of your already daily requirements. That's another thing that a lot of people get wrong. They put in an extra few hundred calories in their run and then they take it out of their daily totals. We're thinking about sustaining performance and optimal recovery here. So remember, the numbers and averages that I'm going to give you are on top of your average daily consumption. I think we've covered that enough. On top, included, buzzing, intra, extra, and the tips still in. Now I like to set all of my clients up in hourly windows because I think it just looks nice and neat and tidy. Now there's two things that I like to consider. Number one, average amount of calories per hour. Hourly window is around 250 calories, of which, nearly burped then, of which I like my athletes to be getting between 25 and 35 grams of carbohydrates per hourly window. The reason there is a range is because there's a few contextual individual things that we need to consider. Male versus female. Females 25 to 30 on average grams of carbs per hour. Males 30 to 35 and sometimes beyond is a nice place to start. Now, a lot of people are going to be going, well, how do I understand what 30 grams of carbs is in relation to 250 calories? Very good question. For every gram of carbohydrates that you are going to consume, it's 4 total calories. So, for example, if you are going to have 30 grams of carbohydrates in each hourly window, it's 30 times 4. Brain is going mental at the moment, which equals 120 calories. So now the next question is, yeah, but Leon, that's not even half of what I need. Chill out. Two other numbers that we have to understand. For every gram of protein we take in, it's 4 calories as well. And then every gram of fat of which that we take in is another 9 calories. Now the remainder of your calories, you've got 130 on average calories to play with per window. You can set them up how you wish, but for me personally, based on the long endurance, low and slow type of work that we're going to be doing, I will normally have a hierarchy of calories in the form of fat over protein. So if you use this really simple example for a total window, 30 grams on average of carbohydrates, which is going to come out at around 50% of your total per hourly window, around 8 to 10 grams of fat, and then the remainder in protein, is going to give you a nice little window to start to explore the amount of calories in which that you can tolerate versus the different types in which that you can take on. It literally takes me back to the desert every single time I drink this stuff. Fuel 5 by Xendurance is what I use for my long distance running, electrolyte and carbohydrate blend. For me, when I train and also race in hot climates, my palate just disappears. I literally cannot eat. And even when I ran the entire length of the United Kingdom, I was drinking nearly a full bag of this a day. It's such good stuff. Now think about the different types of carbohydrate sources that you can play with. You've got edible, you've got gels, you've got drinkables. Try different things, work within the window of around 250 calories per hour in which that you're gonna be out working. 50% of that, around 120 to 130 calories, should be carbohydrate of mixed different sources, and then mix it up with the remainder that you've got. My personal opinion, a little bit of a hierarchy on fat over protein and total calories left, and you shouldn't really go too wrong with that. Any questions, pop them below, and I might even answer them. Might have another one of them. Ooh.